Today I have got a guest who's been on before, always very, very good information, and somebody that I have great respect for because a lot of people talk about what they're going to do when they're serving seniors and their families, and a lot of people don't back it up, in my opinion, and our guest today does, and I've referred a few people to him, and every one of them has been very happy, and so our guest today is David Mose with Assisted Senior Transitions.
Correct.
Right. Welcome to the show again. Welcome back.
A pleasure.
You're always welcome here. You know that. But so tell me a little bit about what's going on with you. I know that your service is helping people find the best place of care, I guess, is one way of saying it.
Right. Whether that be at home or if it is going to be an independent living or assisted living. I help all three areas.
Okay.
And I try to make sure that the family comes out with the best result. And honestly, as I've told you before, home care is usually an interim stop. It's not the final stop. But a lot of people wish to stay in their home as long as possible. It becomes a little expensive for them after a while.
Yeah.
And then it's a question of whether or not they should move into assisted living.
Well, and I don't know, folks, if most of you know, but I've run across a lot of people that just don't know that service is available.
It's still I guess what you call a discoverable side of the world for a lot of people. Most people think that if they know that there's an assisted living facility just down the street from them,
Sure.
that's where they start.
Sure.
But the reality is there are 170 licensed for 6 facilities in the Fresno-Clovis area.
Oh my gosh.
And about 15 large facilities.
Wow.
So the reality is I know where they are and I know who runs them and I know what their basic underlying agenda is in each one of them. So I can give you in a few minutes what it would take you many hours to figure out on your own.
You said one time, if I remember right, probably save people in the neighborhood of around 100 hours
If you
of their own personal time.
Their own personal time, learning first what the whole industry is about, and then moving from there and learning what each individual company and how they approach the system, how they work and what they're about, and then finding the best fit for you or your loved one. And if you do all of that, you'll, I'm sure, feel very good about the fact you found some place for yourself or for your mother or for your father. But the reality is within a couple of hours, I can probably have you placed in the best fit for you. As soon as you describe what you have, what you need, and what the goals are, I can usually whittle it down to 4 or 5 different facilities out of that 185.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. So that right there saves people a ton of time, but probably a lot of heartache. And folks, one of the reasons that I think it's important to let somebody do this for you and really with you is one, because most of you wait until there is a crisis, and so what happens is you're so busy dealing with your loved one or your spouse or whatever the case is that I always tell my clients, you take care of them and I'll take care of you.
And that's very true. It's a precipitating medical event that usually brings people to me. And unfortunately, those precipitating events usually are a fall, a broken hip, or what else could happen to you. A stroke, it could be a lot of things. The stress in being a family group going through that is very high. I can come in and help in the counseling sense just to let you know what's available. It may be that the doctor's true advice is going to be, don't go to that system. And sorry, I forgot to turn it off. You probably could tell. But the real issue is what's best for your loved one or yourself. And the ultimate care you're going to receive once you leave the hospital or leave the skilled nursing and move either back to home or into an assisted living situation. What's best for you?
Sure. Well, and this is important to me. One of the things that I've learned throughout the years in our business, we've been helping seniors now for 27 years, and we find that, again, this isn't one of the most exciting things to talk about, and so people tend to put it off until they have a need. But at that time, as you know, probably better than I, their resources generally are limited, and so their options are fewer than they would be.
Correct.
And-
If you have a plan in place, just as you always try to help people with their financial planning, to make sure that they have whatever they can possibly garner for their later years.
Sure.
Once you reach that stage where you need assistance, it isn't free.
Yeah.
My services are.
Yeah.
I never charge my clients a nickel. I help them find the best services, but I do get paid by those facilities
Sure.
if somebody moves in. I've had many, many clients where they've never made the decision to move in, but I've still counseled them through,
Sure.
referred them to people like you or to other people for aid and attendance from the VA or whatever
Sure.
they need.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the point is to give them an opportunity to get on the right trail
Yeah.
and eventually find the right conclusion.
Yep. Wow. So we're talking with David Mose, who is with Assisted Senior Transitions. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back. And I'm going to have him share a couple of actual cases of clients of mine that we've talked about, and also a couple things that I know he does probably different than most. So this is Truth for Seniors. We'll be right back. And we're back with Truth for Seniors, and our guest today is David Mose, who is with Assisted Senior Transitions. And David has been really somebody that has helped a few of my clients and helped me personally with understanding a little bit more about the process that people really get involved in when they're realizing that their loved one needs some care and they don't know really where to start or where to begin. I know a lot of times people even ask me, well, you know, this place over here I like, it's close to home, but they say they, you know, are so much a month and we can't afford that. Or this other place, and they don't know the difference between a lot of times assisted living or skilled nursing, or, you know, a residential care facility versus assisted living, and pros and cons and all that. So I know that we had just a little personal testimony real quick. I had shared when I first met David a while back that, you know, I'd love to start sending people, especially because you're also in the South Valley. And so I got a call on my cell phone, I believe on a Friday night after hours, from a client, and she was in a panic, and I referred her to you. And if I remember the way the story went, on Saturday, the next day, you met with her. Sunday, we're looking at a facility or two.
Right.
And then Mom moved in, I think, the following Tuesday.
Yeah.
So you made me look very good there.
It was my pleasure to help the family.
Yes,
and
exactly. I was very pleased. And then just recently, there's one that a very good friend of ours that we were discussing off air that had tried somebody before she found your company, and was disappointed, and then now is very happy with you guys because you have a way of taking it, I think, what I would call more of a personal involvement, and maybe you take things a little bit farther than a lot of people do who provide similar services. And so can we talk about that a little bit?
Sure.
You know?
In general, most people in the business I'm in do their work by the computer and by the telephone.
Okay.
They don't often meet with their clients. Some never meet with their clients. Some do.
Really?
But some actually never meet face-to-face with their clients.
Wow.
Personally, I arrange to have a conference with them. I always start with a phone conference because that's almost always the way they
Yeah.
find me. But I always have an evaluation where I go through it for the whole family. And that can be whether it's the individuals looking for themselves or the daughter or son or both that are looking for help for their parent.
Okay.
And then I try to make sure that I have a strong feeling about that parent or that individual who's going to receive the services, so that I know where they'll fit and where they won't fit. Because
Sure.
they're different types of facilities.
Sure.
That's
sure.
number one. And
Okay.
being able to explain to the family what they are, what level they will take their care to and won't take their care to. And then also base it upon the costs. The families always have a budget,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
trying to fit within that budget. You can vary them from about $1,600 a month all the way up to $7,000 or $8,000 or $9,000 a month, depending on what the needs of the individual are and their ability to pay.